All right, so I know like a lot of guys been asking me if I have an anti-lag on my bike. I hadn't got around to hooking it up yet, but I actually took the time and picked up a secondary kill switch today. So this is basically what I'll use as my anti-lag because it's a momentary switch. It's only armed when it's depressed, and basically how this Power Commander 5 piggyback unit works is it basically has like input ports, so it can receive a ground signal, and one side, so this is a 2-wire switch. One side will go to chassis ground, so it'll just hook up to the frame of the bike, and then the other wire will go to one of the input ports on the Power Commander 5. And when the Power Commander 5 sees ground on whatever input port that I use, it basically acts as a map switcher. So I have the map that I'm currently running the bike on, that I'm cruising around with on the street, and then when I depress this button right here, it basically switches to the secondary map, which is a retarded timing high fuel map. And for those that don't know how a anti-lag works, it basically cuts spark rapidly, and it allows raw fuel to go into the hot side pre-turbine. So the fuel is basically igniting in the hot side, and it basically has a basically makes the turbine wheels spool up rapidly, or spin up rapidly, because the fuel is igniting in the hot side rather than in the cylinder. So I know I bench tested it with just some bare wire that I had, and I was able to build like 8 to 9 pounds almost instantaneously. So I'm really curious to see how it'll work on the street with doing a 2-step launch. I do plan on taking my bike out to Silver Lake this week, so I got a paddle tire for it. If you're out there, you'll probably see me. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how this anti-lag is going to work. This should be a pretty sweet setup. I'm probably just going to aim to mount it like right here, so my hands can still remain on the handlebars while I have it depressed. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get this wired up this afternoon and see if I can get some more video for you guys, so stay tuned. All right, got my switches laid out. So this is the anti-lag button right here, momentary switch, just a repurposed kill switch. Got my actual bike kill switch right here, and then I moved the mode switch over here. So I have the Power Commander 5 booted up. Briefly got my wires ran, or vaguely have my wires ran. So you can see the switch wiring is right here. I still have to tuck everything and loom it, but you can see right here it says current map, so that's map 1. And then you can see when I hit the button, it goes to map 2. It goes to map 2. I'm off the button, I'm on the button, and it only stays on map 2 as long as my finger is pressing the button. And like I said, map 2 is the map with like super retarded timing, and I'm adding a bunch of fuel because I want it to go, I don't want it to burn in the cylinder. I want it to dump fuel in the exhaust so it ignites pre-turbine, which will spool up the turbine wheel, which will in turn create boost. So you can see map 2, map 1. Map 1 is what I cruise and hoon on, and map 2 is the map where it builds boost. So you can see my fingers on the button, it's map 2. Finger not on the button, map 1. That's how that works. So I'm gonna see if I can get a video and show you how much boost, show you guys how much boost this bike can build on the 2-step. I just gotta finish running my wires and clean everything up, and then we can go from there. All right, so I got everything wired up. Now it is time to see if this thing will make some boost on the anti-lag. So this is my button right here. Like I said, this is a map switch, so it changes between two different tunes. When this is depressed, it basically pulls a bunch of timing, which allows the field to it allows raw fuel to be dispersed into the exhaust, and it basically ignites in the exhaust rather than the cylinder. So I'm gonna start the bike up and let's see what it does. So as you guys can see, it made close to 6 pounds pretty effortlessly. So, and that's with like no tweaking or anything done to the fuel table. So I have a lot of room for adjustability to make it build even more boost, but I'm impressed with what it's capable of doing just with the settings that I have loaded right now. I just pissed everybody off, but it is what it is. So as you guys can see, this two-step works pretty flawlessly. And for the people that keep asking, yes, I do run a filter when I'm riding on the street and on the dirt. I have a filter and I have an outerwear, which is basically like a hydroscopic bag to protect it from to protect the turbo from ingesting water, pretty much. But yeah, this thing works pretty flawlessly. Yeah, so at the moment, ECU wise, I am still retaining the stock ECU, but I do run a Power Commander 5, and it has their what's known as their PTI add-on. So it's basically a boost specific kit that comes with the Power Commander 5 that's dedicated for any type of four-wheel or off-road vehicle that's running any type of forced induction. So I like this setup for now, but I think I'm starting to reach the limitations of it as far as adjustability goes, because I want a little bit I want more inputs and outputs, and I'm kind of leaning towards going the fuel tech route if I continue with this project. By running the fuel tech, it would basically open up the horizon a lot for me for adding a lot of extra features to it. So I mean, as of right now, I'm pretty happy. I toyed around with the idea of upgrading the turbo and seeing if I could possibly recess things more towards the center of the frame. But as of right now, I'll probably just leave it how it is, work out the small quirks with this, and see if I can reach the full potential of this setup. So one other thing I'd like to change going forward is actually this button to activate the anti-lag or two-step. As of right now, after using it a couple of times, it's a lot going on in order to get this to activate. Because you got to think, you have to hold the clutch down, press this, and then depending on how you have it set up in the ECU, you can have the two-step activate at a certain throttle percentage. So I kind of want to just simplify this a little bit. So going forward, I'll probably remove this switch and just go to a OEM style clutch switch, so it's one less thing you have to do when you activate it. So we tested it out a little bit at the sand dunes, and staging it was a little weird, but once the two-step was actually released and the power kicked in, it was just retarded with how it just like makes so much power on the low end. But I actually have a video of us testing that out, and I'll probably be posting it later in the week. But yeah, I want to try to simplify this as much as possible. So yeah, going to a clutch switch, that's definitely on my list. So I get a lot of people wondering what type of boost pressure I see, like just under normal driving. And to be honest, I've seen upwards of 12 pounds with this setup. 12 pounds. So I'm pretty impressed with how this setup has performed. I mean, as I like stated a bunch of times, this isn't the last setup that I'm going to do on this bike. Over the winter, there's going to be a lot of changes I make, this pipe being one of them. But for the most part, fitment wise, I think I have a solution worked out to recess everything a little bit more into this fairing area. So yeah, stay tuned for more videos, and yep, stay on the lookout. Peace. Yep.
That first one, that got me. I'm like, shit.
Was that loud?
Hell yeah.